This meeting of the Littleton Licensing Authority will come to order. The city clerk, please call the roll.
Authority Chair Bradish.
Present.
Vice Chair Cole.
Here.
Authority Member Buchanan.
Here.
Authority Member Levere.
Here.
Authority Member Mather. Authority Member Schock.
Here.
Authority Member Webb.
We do have a quorum, so we'll proceed. First item of business is the approval of this agenda.
I'll move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carries. Next item is certification of the minutes of the previous meeting. Do I have a motion that we approve the certification?
I'll move to approve based on the clerk's certification the May 13th video as the minutes for the May 13th, 2015 regular session of the Littleton Licensing Authority.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item of business, scheduling, item number 4, scheduling renewal hearings. Schedule renewal hearing for Retro Wasteland LLC doing business as the Toad Tavern, 5302 South Federal Circle, Suite A, Littleton, Colorado. Do I have a motion to approve the attachments?
I'll move that we approve attachments A through F.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No objections. Feel free to speak.
Oh, no.
It's not a public hearing.
There's no public hearing on
Oh, I'm
this
sorry.
matter.
This is a meeting that you're welcome to be at, but nobody gets to speak because it's a preliminary.
That's fine.
Is that correct? Okay.
Correct. So
I missed last week. I apologize.
the issue before the authority is whether to schedule this renewal application for a hearing. It'll be scheduled at the next meeting, which is July 8th. Normally, pursuant to our code, renewals are generally handled administratively, but when there are areas of concern, we can bring it before the authority and request that a renewal hearing be scheduled so that you can hear from the applicant to address some of the concerns that came up in the renewal application. So I'd ask for a motion to schedule that renewal hearing next month.
I move that the renewal applications for Retro Wasteland LLC, DBA The Toad Tavern, 5302 South Federal Circle, be scheduled for a public hearing on July 8th, 2015.
I'll second that. And Mr. Chairman, just for purposes of discussion, for me, I'd like to find out about the tax information. Unless is there any update from the city?
There is no update at this time.
So the outstanding tax owed to the city, as well as the question about whether or not there was a criminal violation involving one of the owners, are information enough for me to want to believe that we shouldn't administratively process the application, in addition to the late filing. So I think that those are all reasons that we ought to have a hearing next month.
I agree with that. Any further discussion? All right, we've got a motion on the table that's been seconded. I believe we have seconded it. City Clerk, would you please poll the authority?
Authority Chair Bradish.
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole.
Yes.
Authority Member Buchanan.
Yes.
Authority Member Levere.
Yes.
Authority Member Schock.
Yes.
The motion is approved, and the public hearing will be scheduled for July 8th, 2015, in this room. Moving right along. Next item of business is a preliminary hearing of liquor code violations and stipulations. This is preliminary hearing for Ned Kelly Incorporated, doing business as Ned Kelly Irish Pub, 5666 South Sycamore Street, Littleton, Colorado.
I'll move that we enter Exhibits A and B.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carried.
Would the city attorney like to let us know? We've read the motions, but is there anything you'd like to fill in?
No, the attorney for Ned Kelly, Jim Bungford, is here to address the authority. Our prosecutor did file a motion to dismiss and attached an affidavit. So I don't know if Mr. Bungford wants to add anything to that.
Well, I don't, at this point, depending on what the board would like to do, I don't have a whole lot to
Will you just identify yourself?
James Bamford, call registration 13142, appearing on behalf of Ned Kelly's.
Okay. So you've seen the motion to dismiss, I'm assuming?
I have.
Yeah, okay. And is there anything you'd like to add?
I think it's where this thing should go. Don't quit while you're ahead. If you have some questions, I'll be glad to address them. But obviously, we support that, and I think there was some concern a month ago about the nature of these going forward, and it didn't produce any more. And in fact, we had some pretty good evidence contrary. So,
Okay.
leave it at that.
I find the prosecutor's motion compelling. If she doesn't think worthy to bring a case, I don't see any reason to belabor it. So I'm going to make a motion. I move to dismiss the case against Ned Kelly, Inc., doing business as Ned Kelly Irish Pub, 5666 South Sycamore Street, Littleton, Colorado, and to vacate the show cause hearing scheduled for July 8th, 2015, based on the motion to dismiss submitted by the city prosecutor.
I'll
I
second.
second the motion. Any further discussion? City Clerk, would you poll the authority, please?
Authority Chair Bradish.
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole.
Yes.
Authority Member Buchanan.
Yes.
Authority Member Levere.
Yes.
Authority Member Schock.
No.
Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Next item. Lost my place. This is item B of paragraph 9. This is a preliminary hearing for Woodlawn Liquors Incorporated, doing business as Woodlawn Liquors, 150 West Littleton Boulevard, Littleton, Colorado. We have 3 attachments, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, and Exhibit C. I would make a motion that we accept the attachments.
Second.
All in favor, please signify.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried.
The authority has before you a proposed stipulation agreement in order. I'm here on behalf of the city prosecutor tonight to present that stipulation for your approval. This involves Woodlawn Liquors, Inc., doing business as Woodlawn Liquors, 1500 West Littleton Boulevard, number 101. The prosecutor and the licensee stipulate and agree as followed. Licensee was issued an order to show cause and notice of a hearing alleging a violation of Littleton Municipal Code 3-2-10F, sale to intoxicated persons, and Colorado Revised Statute 12-47-9011A. It's alleged that on April 3rd, 2015, at approximately 11:14 a.m., licensee sold a can of Bud Light and Clamato for 50-milliliter mini bottles of Disaronno Amaretto to a patron who appeared to be visibly intoxicated. These facts would constitute a violation of Littleton Municipal Code 3-2-10F and Colorado Revised Statute 12-47-901. Licensee acknowledged receipt of sufficient notice, advisement of rights, and process of the proceedings, and wishes to resolve all issues which were the subject of the order to show cause by entering into the stipulation agreement. The prosecutor and licensee have discussed the merits of the violation allegations and have come to this agreement and understanding that jointly proposed to the authority a resolution of the allegations in lieu of proceeding to a hearing on the merits, as detailed in the order to show cause that the authority issued on May 13, 2015. As part of the stipulation, licensee admits to the violations alleged in the stipulation and agrees to submit to the following sanctions: a 10-day suspension of their liquor license with 5 days of actual suspension and 5 days held in abeyance for 1 year from the date of the final order. And licensee shall be allowed to pay a fine in lieu of the actual suspension. For purposes of permitting licensee to pay a fine in lieu, the parties to the agreement state that the public welfare and morals will not be impaired by permitting the licensee to operate during the period of suspension, and the payment of the fine will achieve the desired disciplinary purpose, that the books and records of the licensee are kept in a manner that loss of sales of alcoholic beverages that the licensee would have suffered had the suspension gone into effect can be determined with reasonable accuracy, and licensee has not had his license suspended or revoked or paid a fine in lieu within the previous 2 years. The fine will be equivalent to 20% of the licensee's estimated gross sales of alcohol beverages during the period of this proposed suspension, except that the fine will not be less than $200 nor more than $5,000. If the authority approves the stipulation, I will need you to establish dates for that, for calculating the fine in lieu.
The 10-day suspension and the 5 days held in abeyance is more or less the standard that we've applied to cases like this in the past, if I remember correctly.
I think that is correct, Mr. Chairman.
And there's no adverse information such as unpaid taxes or good standing otherwise?
Absolutely.
And I will just add that the licensee, Mark Mack, is present today in the council chamber. If,
Is there anything that you'd like to say?
I've been doing this a long time.
Mr. Mack, can I ask you to speak into the
And
microphone?
will you just identify?
You'll have to be sworn in.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give before this authority is truthful?
Yes.
Would you state your name, please?
Mark Mack, M-A-C-K.
Okay. Thank you.
I've been doing this a long time, and I was the one that did it. And I don't know how I missed it. I have no idea. I was in the middle of a pneumonia case of 11 weeks of having pneumonia. And the lady came in, and she asked if she could use the restroom, and she was holding her crotch and kind of doing chop steps to my back restroom, and I should have seen it. I don't know why I didn't, and I have no excuse for it. And I just want to say that, you know, if one of my employees did this, I would have fired him. I take this type of thing very seriously. Today, I turned away 2 people. I actually, if they are good customers and I know that they're close by, I'll actually give them a ride home, so they're not getting in a car and driving if I think they're intoxicated. And that's all I got to say. I mean, I should have seen it. I should have seen it. And
Have you had any other violations?
it was 2003 or something like that.
Okay. Over 10 years ago. Okay. If we accept the stipulation, we need to fill in, we will need to include the dates that would be used to measure the receipts for the fine. That's up to us to determine, but we often ask if there's a preference. Do you have, and I will also say we often,
I'm sorry, excuse me. We do have to look at least 45 days out per statute.
Right. So
Thank you.
So a couple of requirements to this. One, at least 45 days out. We have often in the past, I'm not speaking for what the board will do tonight, but we have often included the day of the week when the violation took place, which was a Friday, so I realize is probably a higher receipt date. But we also ask the licensee, that doesn't always mean that that's what we do, but do you have a preference on what days of the week?
I would prefer Sunday through Thursday, but I can understand Friday, though.
So for example, if we were to include Friday, I'm guessing you would prefer Monday through Friday rather than Friday through the following
Friday through Wednesday.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
That would put us at the week of July 27th,
Okay,
would be the earliest.
okay. That would start the Monday the 27th, through
That would be
August 1st?
through Friday the 31st.
Oh,
Friday
okay.
the 30th, so 27 to 31. Okay.
And is it written in the statute that it's 45 days? Is the 27th actually 45 days, or is that 44 days?
It's 44 days, but that still gives us enough time for notification.
Okay.
So we could push it to the following week, which would be August 3rd.
Does it matter to the city?
Is that set in stone, or is that just the guideline?
It's a guideline to allow enough time for notification.
I think 44 days is fine then.
Yeah, as long as it's not, we're not being technically, and we can get bid on it on the back end, then I'm fine with 44 days.
Okay.
I have no problems with the date.
Based on the history and the lack of any sort of aggravating information, I'm inclined to propose or to approve the stipulation with those dates. So,
I'd like to say I appreciate the fact that you've run a good business all this time, and who knows what you were thinking about that day. It's still a serious offense. There was
I know.
very serious consequences if this customer would have driven away from there, and you understand that.
Yeah, I really understand that.
I have no problem with the stipulation. I'm prepared to approve it. I'll make a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the stipulation agreement in order between the city prosecutor and the licensee. In Section 5C of the stipulation, the period of proposed suspension for purposes of calculating the fine in lieu of suspension shall be July 27th, 2015 through July 31st, 2015. The show cause hearing date originally scheduled for July 8th, 2015 is hereby vacated.
I'll second.
Any discussion? City Clerk, would you poll the authority, please?
Authority Chair Bradish.
Yes.
Vice Chair Cole.
Yes.
Authority Member Buchanan.
Yes.
Authority Member Levere.
Yes.
Authority Member Schock.
Yes.
Motion is approved. The stipulation is approved. Thank you for appearing tonight, sir, and
Thank you. I'm sorry. I don't know really what to say. I've never had anything like that happen to me, and it was my fault, not anybody that worked for me, but mine.
we trust that we won't see you before us again. Thank you. I see no other items of business in the agenda unless there are staff reports.
Chairman Bradish, the city attorney and I were discussing, because there have been some questions from authority and there are some things that we're looking at changing in the guidelines, making the August meeting a study session unless we have something major come up between now and then. So just be prepared for the August meeting to be a study session.
What would be the topic of the discussion session?
So we're going to do some training and talk a little bit about process around the show cause and probable cause hearings and the way the renewals are handled, things like that.
Okay. Where would the meeting be held? In the community room?
I'll hold it in the community room, so.
Same time, 7 o'clock?
Given that we're assuming that there won't be any regular items that come before the authority, I don't have a problem with that change. Yeah, I agree. That can always change, but as of today, I would prefer that we just go ahead and approve it.
Do we have anything on the agenda for July as of right now? Do you know?
We would have the renewal hearing that you just scheduled.
Right. Very good.
I know I was out of town last month, but what about the study session with City Council? What happened there? It was canceled or postponed, or?
It's been postponed at this point to a date uncertain at this time.
So this is not going to be a substitute for that. This is going to be our study session.
This is our study
Council
session.
may still
We'll do some
require us to
training
go to
and
another
talk.
study session with them.
Well, council's on a Tuesday, and we're on Wednesday, correct?
Yeah, this will just be the authority, and Colleen and I, and probably Corey Hoffman as well. So,
I don't think we need a motion.
no,
I
just
think you're
first an
approved to
FYI.
proceed with that. Is there anything else from the staff? Any reports from members of the authority? There are no reports from the chair.
Just one more thing, I'm sorry. As you all know from the report I sent you, the boardroom is now open, finally.
Big news.
It's big news. Hopefully you've all had a chance to go out to Breckenridge and experience their restaurant out there. If not, that would be good. There's another new one open. 3 Patrios that we had pending for a year and a half is now open and serving lunch 11 to 3 Monday through Friday. And Smoke and Fins is anticipating an opening in about a week and a half.
Wow.
Great.
Just a reminder to the authority members, if you get invited to any special event at the boardroom, now that they've opened, sometimes you get free meals because they're training their staff how to do it right, or you're offered a free drink if they recognize you. Absolutely are not to accept anything like that. I make a motion that this meeting be adjourned. There being no second, the meeting's adjourned.